can't blame the equipment if we're not articulate. Let me just say welcome, thank you everybody for coming. We do know why we're here, so we don't have to be too formal. We're the book launch of this man on my right. Let me just introduce my co-host. Can you give it up for Miss Sue Brown, please? Yes. And the state of plays, this man has written a book. Most of you know him. He need no introduction, but he's Grantley. He's an internationally renowned music manager from Birmingham. He's written a book which most of you have bought already. I've nearly finished it, and myself and Sue will be asking him some questions about his journey, about the book itself, and then you guys will get a chance. So don't worry, we'll not leave you out. You'll all get a chance. So can we sort out a seat for this man around the front here? Anybody, please? Lloyd. Mr. Blake, this way, sir. All right. We'll just take our time. Everybody get comfortable, and it should be a nice evening that is revealing of information and things. I've already learned some stuff from reading the book, so.
There's other reserved seats over here. Cool.
And there's enough seating, so don't worry. So, welcome to Great Bar. We're going to jump straight in. Everybody comfortable? Everybody nice? I'm John, but some of you know that, but this is about the man right here. So I'm going to start, first of all, just to set the scene by reading a quote from the book. I like everybody attentive. That's very helpful. So here's a quote from the lead up to the book by a local MP, for those of us who live over that side. Miss. All right, all good? Paulette, she says here in the introduction to the book, Grantley's true gift lies in his love for people and his drive to see others grow and thrive. Paulette Hamilton, MP. I'm going to, myself and Sorg are just going to alternate questions. And like I say, if we leave any gaps, feel free to jump in. My initial question is, you're on a journey, we're all on a journey. Can you, well, we know who you are. Can you tell us, first of all, why you wrote the book and why now?
Well, why now happened, I'd done some work at a drug treatment centre called SIAS, and I decided that my son had asked me some questions about, he said, Dad, you know, I need to hear something from you because our granddad, my granddad, got murdered in Barbados. And he said, I don't want you to die like granddad. And we don't know your story. So the two grandsons that he's got, that I've got, I felt that they needed to know. They needed to know. So I said, I'll write something down for you, Chris. So I ended up writing something. And by the time I'd finished, I'd written 30,000 words. And I've got some really good friends and good people around me that also encouraged me to write. And they said, you should write a book. You know, Tipper's written his book. Pato's written his book. You should write a book. So I studied that for a while. And I thought, gosh, do I really want to go into another dissertation? Because I'd done 3. I'd done 1 at 10,000 words, and I'd done 2 at 20,000 words. And I didn't want to go back into it, I'll be honest. But because people were so supportive and they were saying things like, yeah, you do it, Grant, you can do it, I decided to do it. So I started plotting chapters. I got an A1 piece of paper and I put that together, and that's how the chapters came. And the more I wrote was the more that came out. It just kept on coming out and coming out and coming out. So then I had to go back and rewrite some because there was bits that I wanted to add to, bits that I felt needed a bit more exploration, and gosh, so we get to 543 pages.
Thank you. You know, they say that you can judge a man or his character by the people he knows, by the work that he's done. So I'm sitting here in front of your people, our people, and they truly care for you. And and I'm sure along your journey has inspired you as in the way that you have inspired them, you know. And I think that everyone here should give themselves an applause because you're part of Grantley's journey. Please give yourselves an applause. I know that some of you are mentioned in the book also. So we have artists, we have writers, we have singers, we have producers, and so much more, as well as regular people as well. All right? So, and this feels really weird because last year I'd come to the studio, those of you who perhaps don't know this, and we'd sit in the studio. It was like a podcast, huh? Yeah. And I'd ask the questions, and then they'd be recorded, and we will reflect. And this man is a great man. He has done so much. And one of the things I wanted to know, even though the book is predominantly about the music, it is also about your life. And you've answered the question, you know, what inspired you, who inspired you? Where do you want this book to go?
Question, because it's not an answer that springs to mind, because I wrote the book first of all to map my life so that, you know, my friends and family could. Now this might seem weird, but I wrote the book once I'd gotten into it. I said, if I ever die, somebody won't have a problem writing my eulogy. And I am being honest whether I said that. And and I'll tell you what, a couple of Fridays ago, I had a heart attack. Now I'm being honest, I had a heart attack, and I swear, you know, Keith came, Crooks. We was at a funeral, and I felt like I was having indigestion, and I just didn't feel right. And I said, Crooks, we're leaving. I'm going. I don't feel right. And he said, yeah. I said, yeah, man, I've got to go. And we left, and I went to my sister's house, and I said, at least if anything happens to me, I'll be by my sister, and I'll be in good hands. Within 5 minutes of phoning the ambulance was there. And I was in hospital, and I was going through the processes, and I left that hospital on Wednesday. They said, you've got a strong heart, but you're lucky. You're really, really lucky. Because if you had waited another 2 days and you'd let this go, you would have been a dead man. And I'm telling you now, I did not fear nothing. Ask anybody that came to see me. They said, you look well, you look really well. I didn't fear anything. I would have been happy if I'd gone. Now I'm being honest, because I've done every single thing I wanted to do. And I'd gotten the book written, and my next book is on the way, and that's called Crack Cocaine Treatment and Me, and that's going to be out in May. That is a book that I'm superbly proud of. And not to put this one aside, this one is exactly how I wanted it to be. My friends from back in the day, Duke Wally, who shaped me, who taught me how to be really, really robust, and, you know, sleeping on floors when we were buying dub plates. You know, I learned all of that stuff. And one of my best friends is over there, Keith Brown, and he'll tell you the person that I am. So, does that answer your question?
So far, so good. So I'm just clarifying. Obviously, you're not looking to. One, I didn't know you'd been ill, so that's a shock to me as well as most of the room. But you weren't saying, obviously, you're ready to go. You're saying that a lot of your work is done. Should you go? So I'm clarifying that, obviously. You're not depressed, you're not looking to leave us anytime soon. Yeah. But, okay, so start from the start. Okay, so you're of Bajan stock, and you're from the Balsall Heath area. Just to set it in context, yeah? Can you tell us a little bit about them first few years that formed you in Balsall Heath? A little bit of that.
Listen, we grew up poor, man. And I'm not joking when I say poor. I'm talking about a paraffin heater in the middle of the one room that we used to rent. I'm talking about having to punch money in the back of a television and missing half of the program because mum couldn't find somebody to borrow money from to put in the back of the TV. I'm talking about my sister's being at home. I'm at junior school at Percy Shermer, and somebody coming home and telling me that that there's a fire in my house. And my sisters, when I got home from school, they were in hospital. So they could have died in that fire. And I'm talking about when my mum was under the bed and it was freezing cold and we didn't have enough money to heat the house, that I looked at my mum and I said, while I'm alive, you'll never be poor again. And I've kept that promise throughout my life. And I thank my sister Margaret for borrowing all those records from those guys that she knew and playing them on my dad's Blue Spot radiogram and letting me in when my dad thought I was sleeping.
For most of us, you know, the experience in the early 60s, 70s, 50s even, it's a story that we know. And I suppose the comfort of the time, amongst many other things, would have been the music, like you said. Music has been there for so many of us. And like you just said about your sister, having those records, playing them. So I would assume that your dad would have had some sort of gram or something, and you're playing them. So tell us how that started, for you to start to think, I want to play music, or I want to go out to the dance, or sneak out the window, or something like this. How did it start?
Well, when my dad found out that my sister and I were playing the radiogram that he treasured so much, and some of his records that he treasured so much, he said to me, now that you've played my records, what do you know? I said, I know about music. I know what's good music. I don't know. He said, but do you know how voices sell records? And I'm 11. I said, it comes from here, Dad. And there's not a lot of people that know my dad in this room. But my dad is one of the most fearful men when he's ready. But if he likes you, he likes you, right? So my dad says, always remember that if it doesn't hit you here, it doesn't mean nothing. So that's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned from my dad, he said, if you're going to do music, you better have your qualifications first. And he made sure that I learned at school. And how he did that, you know what? You know what he did? Dennis Hamilton will know this. He said, first or second? First or second? Nothing else.
Okay. I like that. So we've touched on Bajan heritage, Balsall Heath, love of music. All of us got a love of music here, and we know that. We all have it in our different ways. I can see a lot of fellow DJs, promoters, and soundmen in the place. But your journey is slightly different in that you played sound, as we said, Duke Wally, which I knew of the sound. I didn't realize you was in it till I started reading the book. But tell us a little bit about going from being a soul man, which lots of us are. And I have to say, before qualify that by saying, sound system is the bedrock of so many things. You have your MCs, your singers, your promoters, your producers, your carpenters, all of that come out of that. And a lot of us have sprung from that and gone in. I went into comedy. Other people have gone into poetry and other things. And so, how or why did you end up going into management? Because that's one of the less obvious ways of doing things. I'm not so supposedly glamorous. Tell us a little bit about that journey from soul man to artist manager.
Well, sometimes you get opportunities, and one of my opportunities is that I used to love to listen to KKJ on the radio, and this is before I actually became a manager. This is when I was a DJ, so I'd model myself off Blacker Dread and KKJ and those types of DJs, and I would try to do as much as they did. And then I used to listen to people like Paul Gambaccini. I used to listen to people like Johnny Walker, is it? I used to listen to a lot of DJs, Barry Curtis and the favorite Jamaican DJ, Barry G from Jamaica. And I got an idea of playing music that people liked. Now, that was when I was a DJ. I also had a lot of help from people from the Bajan community, like Hansel Jordan.
In what way? Help in what way?
Well, they would book me for shows, and I would play. They would book another sound that would play for the older generation, and they would book me to play for the younger generation. And I did a good job. So they kept on booking me, and that gave me confidence. And my mates would, as soon as I started playing, they'd be on the floor, and we loved it. There was great times, as well as working hard. There were great times. So I moved on from there, and I remember building more boxes because I was good at woodwork, and I would build my own speaker boxes, and people would come round and they'd go, "Hold on, is that what you're going to use to beat me?" Pilot's here, when I had one of my first, and he had a big sound, and he said, "That you're going to use?" And I said, "Don't worry, man, wait till you hear it." You see, when he heard it, because I had a crossover system, I had 1,000 watts of transistor that ran my bass. I had 200 watts that ran my mids and tops, and I had a crossover system. And guess what? I had 2 decks. So I could segue those decks. And so when a man was looking through and picking up the needle, another track would be on the deck, and people were laughing, but they were secretly pretty much impressed. And I not knew that, and I just carried on from there. I built a team around me where we'd go and we'd be able to set up in about half an hour. We'd be on playing music. And it was great times. So I've got to big up Roy Turney. If you're listening, if you catch this, I'm not forgetting you. So what that did for me, and what Wally did for me, and what Hansel Jordan and Daphne Lashley did for me, is they helped me to feel confident, to be confident, to feel that I could do more than I ever believed that I could do. So now, moving from that, I went to Mary Street and I was battling against sounds. So the Wally experience came back, where we would play, battle against other, yeah. So one of the things I learned there is that I called Pato on a number of occasions, and Pato would come and he would chat and mash up the dance, yeah. And then I would call Peter. They said, give Peter the mic, give Peter the mic. This
Peter
guy
Spence.
here, right? Give Peter the mic. I think you were in the crowd. Give Peter the mic. So I gave Peter Spence the mic, and I was playing Roots Natty, and I played the B-side. And when Peter took that mic and blew the crowd away, I thought, one day I'm going to manage you. And I did.
Now, while all of that was going on, you were still working, yeah? And you were doing your own thing, catering? Yes. Yeah. And building your own skills, management skills and things like this. In hearing the story, for me, the part I love in the book is the story of your parents and where they were coming from, but how they were seeing you, because in their mind, they're seeing you, your dad in particular, your uncles. You're going to progress into one world, but you're also now leaning to being something else. How were they taking it?
Well, my dad, not very well, until he heard Hello Darling on the radio. When my dad heard Hello Darling, he said, who is that? I said, that's Tipper, Dad. That's the guy that I manage. He goes, you mean you make money from these things? And I said, well, yeah. And he goes, this is a Bajan terminology now. Man, you great, man. So, slowly but surely, my dad was coming around to my way of thinking and what I wanted to do. But he said, but don't forget, not everybody that knows you cares about you. Remember that. And a fool and his money are soon parted. So don't you be a fool, else you're not my son. So my dad was still watching me all the way until he passed away. And the day before he passed away, he said, you're really great. He said, you've done everything that I expected you to do and more. And there's only one thing I'd like you to do now is look after your sisters and look after your mother. She's always going to need you. And he said, and one more thing. This is about, minutes from death. He said, you've had more women than me, boy.
Can I just one more thing? Yeah. Obviously you talk about your dad and the greatest influence, but I know your uncles as well. But your mom, how much did she know of the music? How much did she relate to you? And was it in the same way your dad did? Tell me mother's view.
There's a few people in this room that have met my mother. My mother's delightful. My mother is love intensified for me, her son. And Mom, if you do get the chance to hear this, yes, I know I'm your favorite. But so does everybody else. My mother is my hero and sole inspiration. When I needed money to build GT600, my mother gave me £200 and she said, I don't want it back. And I said, never. my uncle gave me £400, and he said, "No, I want it back." Within 6 months, I'd given them their money back. Because in my head, that sound wasn't mine until I'd given them their money back. So I had to pay my dues. And that helped me. That spirit is the same spirit I've got now. You know, yeah, I've had a heart attack, but if you think you're holding me down, no, I'm still going to go. But I'll follow the guidance. I'll follow the advice. When they say you got to eat properly, I'll eat properly. When they say I got to exercise, I'm going to exercise like they've never seen somebody exercise before. But if they want to stop my brain, you got to do a lot before you do that. So I'm always going to come up with new ideas, and keep it coming.
Next question is, can you, if it's possible, shortly take us from you, the young soundman, GT 600, is it right? Duke Wally. Take us from that to managing specifically Potter Banton and Tipper Irie. Give me a summary of how you went from that to that, please, or give us a summary, please.
The Lyceum. I was friends with Smiley Culture, really good friends with Smiley Culture, really good friends with Asher Senator. Those guys showed me the nooks and the crannies of the music industry from their perspective. However, I went, to the Lyceum with them one Saturday evening. It was about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
South London, yeah?
Yeah, no. West End, the Lyceum, and there's about 3,000 people in this room. I got backstage and I said to Pato, "Have you been on yet?" And he goes, yeah, but I did all right. I said, "But they want you to go on again." He said, "Oh, no, I'm not going on again." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, they've got a space. You go on, brook up the dance. He said, "With what?" I said, "That tune, Hello Tosh." He said, "That stupid tune. You want me to go on stage, the Lyceum, and chat that stupid tune? Asher Senator, Smiley Culture, Tipper Irie, Papa Levi. I'm going to be a dead MC walking." I said, "Okay, if you go and do that tune, I will be jumping up and down. I'll embarrass myself, right? So that you don't look the fool." He said, "All right, G, if you want me to do the tune, I'll do the tune." So I went to David Rodigan and I said to Rodigan, "Every posse get flat, B-side." Rodigan put it on. Pato comes out. You remember that dance, the chaplain? Pato comes out doing that. And when he hits the stage, he goes, "Hello, Tosh, got a Toshy, ba, ba, ba." The crowd, you're talking 3,000 people were on their feet. Rodigan could not believe it. Rodigan said, "My God, Pato Banton from Birmingham." And he kept on pulling up the tune about 7 times. And that's on the way home. Pato and I was on the way home. And he said, "Thanks, G. Thanks, man." He said, "I'm going to need a manager." I said, "I'll manage you, man. Don't worry about that." So he laughed, and I laughed. I said, "I'm serious. I'm going to manage you." And so said, so done. I got a contract together, and I managed Pato. I think the term at the start was 3 years, and it just continued till I was managing Pato for 15 years, I think. And I said another thing to Pato. I said, this isn't your market. Not with the songs that you've done. I remember we were in the studio in Mark Angelo's studio in Farringdon, London, and I'd given Chris Cracknell a demo tape of Pato, and he said, nah, there's nothing on that I want. And Pato was tearful, and I said, this isn't your market. He said, so what are we going to do? I said, we're going to go to America and we're going to go to Europe. And he looked at me and he said, all right, G, if you said it, we're going to do it. Pato, I don't know if anybody knows how the system of performances or there's a chart position for concerts, right? In America, North America and Canada, and it's called Polestar. Now, if you hit number 10, that means you're good. Pato hit number 8 in Polestar. So the concert receipts, that means how much money you could generate from a tour. Pato hit number 8, and I'm not going to go into any more details because this is Pato's business and mine, but it's Pato's, right? But we were okay. We were starting to break America. 2 guys from Borsal Heath, Birmingham. But I'll tell you what, we couldn't have done it without UB40. We couldn't have done it without Dave Wakelin and Rankin Roger, because they helped us along the way, something serious. And whenever we met them on tour while we were there, we felt at home. You got Mr. Dowling here on the side of me. Whenever I saw his face, I was in heaven, man, because it wasn't too far from Ali Campbell, Robin, the rest of the band, and we felt at home. Same thing when we met up with Steel Pulse. Same thing when we met up with Aswad. But I'm telling you, when Pato hit that stage, everybody, every act that was either supporting or every act that Pato was supporting, they worried. And that was including Ziggy Marley.
Let me just say before Sue's question, I'm not going to disagree with you very often, but I'll disagree with you one thing, because you're claiming Pato for Balsall Heath. He went to junior school with me, and secondary school with me, and with her, and with him. So we're claiming, we're claiming Pato for Edgbaston. It was Edgbaston before him. No, me no. Me just go to junior school with me, and my house and his house front door, our front doors were 90 seconds walk through Ashbourne Road to 65 Cavendish Road. 65 Cavendish Road. So I'm just saying he became Balsall Heath after Edgbaston. We got Messiah. But anyway, but I know but we have to have a little clarification for us Dudley Road people.
Boss, you listen good, right?
Go ahead.
Me I gotta tell you something now, right? Listen, right? Pato, Barsalit, Radix, King Iowa.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I know.
No.
Before London, no, go ahead, GT. And then
I'm not.
question. Go ahead.
Well, Rocket was his stepfather, right? So listen, me know all about
So
London,
his journey, even though it's your
right?
story. Go
But
ahead.
listen. Thank
So
you.
it's all correct. He's from London originally, come to our junior school, then the secondaries, and then Balsall Heath. But anyway, we just a clarification and give some detail. The detail is important. You know? And none of us now lie. You not lie, me not lie, but all of us, I can say how many people from my secondary school, I can say 4 people there. So, and like I said, his front door, my front door, 90 seconds walk apart. Jack Melody, another 30 seconds on the same road. Edgbaston was full of talent. But let me not take over. Let Sue make our question. I will come back on this later, G.
All right. The story. So, At what point did you know you had hit that mark, that you were where you wanted to be? Where were you? What had happened that, I don't know whether it was in America, whether it was Pato or whoever, where was it that you said to yourself, yeah, this is it, I am it, whatever the it is?
Well, when Miles Copeland and Jay Bohlberg were in their office, and Miles said, these are hits. These were hits. These are hits. When I got with Drummy Zeb, may he rest in peace, and I asked Drummy Zeb to produce 6 tracks on Pato's album, and I produced the other 4, and we had the greatest time producing Wise Up, No Compromise. That's when I knew that that was the it for me, because Drummy Zeb is probably one of Britain's greatest artists. Ali Campbell is one of Britain's greatest reggae vocals. UB40 has written some of the best songs I still listen to now, and they are reggae. Because people seem to think that UB40 are a cover band for reggae, great reggae songs, and you can say that all you like, but they didn't start off that way. Food for Thought was not a cover song. That was their first track. Dream a Lie, Present Arms, 1 in 10. I could carry on. Jeffrey Morgan album, right? Listen, sometimes we have to, and this is what I never did. When I met Sting, for the first time, I honored him, because for somebody to just write a song that has influence of reggae, they're doing us a favor. They're helping push our music through. What we need to do is we need to look at the blueprint. The blueprint from what they did. Just like Michael Jackson, just like Berry Gordy did. He didn't say this person's doing this. He said, this is what I'm going to do with what I now know about the business. So any artist in this room that feels that they're a great artist, you guys should be looking at social media. Terence is the guy that I now manage. And if I don't tell Terence, or if I haven't told Terence that Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, get on those handles and keep those handles topped up, because that's where your money's going to come from. Yes, vinyl has had a resurgence, that's true. But guess what? If your kids ain't listening and playing vinyl, it's finished. If your children, so when I ask my son to play me what he's listening to, and he doesn't look for the record player or the CD player, it means that it's gone. It's for us. It's nostalgic. It's nostalgic. And that's what we need to remember. Music and the formats of music will continue to grow. What we need to do is get ready for AI. Because if any producers in here, you know that you can now go on AI and you can get a vocal and you can write a song without an artist. So the idea of the producer is what now is going to carry it. So what we need to do is we need to work together if we want hits. So if we don't want hits, we can leave it alone. We can continue to be in this headspace where vinyl's everything, and our kids will continue to walk through the door and listen to their mates and listen to other people. But it's not vinyl anymore. Yes, vinyl has got a market, but it's nowhere near as big as streaming, because the biggest streamers make billions. Anybody tell me who are the artists in the top 40 that you need to watch? Who are the ones to watch? And I'll tell you right now, Kendrick Lamar, brilliant, right up there. But there's people following him. Yeah, go on. Let's talk about pop. Taylor Swift. But Taylor Swift has got to watch it because a little girl called Sabrina Carpenter's on the rise. And another little girl called Tate McRae's on the rise. And they blow you away. So why should reggae be trailing behind? Because now reggae, people say reggae should be Afrobeats. But it's not quite Afrobeat, is it? So what are we doing for our young people that will love reggae? How are we steering the way for them? Yes, but when you're right, Lloyd, but here's the problem with Budger Banton. As you know, you taught me this with your awards. When you're dishing out awards, they go to the young people, the trailblazers, the ones that are on the rise, like the Peter Spences, like the Annette Bees, like the Tipper Iries, like the Pato Bantons. And it'll never change, because right back when Elvis and the Beatles were all doing it, yeah, it was then. Hands up, Liverpool fans. Right, we got a few. When you walk, yeah, through the storm. Who was it by? The Everly Brothers. Jerry and the Pacemakers, sorry. Right, so.
That's correct. He's correct as well. So it was a.
Right, so what you've got to remember is it starts from the young. We've got to support the young with our knowledge, with our experience, just like Miles Copeland did me, just like James Boberg did with me, just like Tarquin Gotch, just like Bernie, Dixon, Andy Bowen, Lloyd Blake. They gave me information. Boy, Grantley, I wouldn't do it like that, you know. What do you think, Lloyd? Well, this is what I think. And once you instruct young people well, they remember it and they keep coming back. That's what I know.
Let me just say, we're going to open the floor shortly. We'll maybe just do one question each. I'll do one, then Sue does one, and then we'll let you guys have your say as well. My final observation for now, by the way, the observation on the book is it's ambitious because you're telling your story, but you're trying to give flowers to lots of reggae artists to say these are the significant sound systems, artists of different genres, MCs, managers. A number of people in this room get mentioned, which is nice as well. Even my don't get mentioned, so thank you. But lots of people in here get mentioned. But what I'd like to say, my final question for now is, you've talked, obviously you've got a lot to say, 500 pages here. The three most well-known artists that you've been involved with, Potter Banton, Tipper Irie, Peter Spence, in terms of as direct manager. give me a summary of those three guys one by one before Sue's last question for now. Just give me your take on those guys as men or artists.
I said this to Chris Cracknell and Chris Cedric, who were the managers and directors of Greensleeves Records, along with Suzette Newman at Island Records. I said, Pato Banton is a performer in every sense of the word. He'll never stop being a performer. He might need guidance on song choices, but he will always, when he hits that stage, you'll realize that there's a professional in front of you performing. He takes it that serious. Tipperary, what would I say about Tipperary? The man that has got melody written all over his DNA. Da 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 da. Yeah? He can move from there to there to there to there. But you know what's different about Tipperary? He can put words to it as well. Peter Spence. What a talent. A natural voice with, I would call it an embouchure, because Peter's voice can do what a saxophone does. So does that answer your
That answers the question. Lovely. Sue, last question, you guys, then you guys jump in.
Out to the audience. So, you're talking about those three of many. What would you say, maybe 3 things about yourself that you have learned or perhaps highlighted in the book, and maybe not in the book, that you would say, yeah, this is me?
Determination. I have got a determination that when I say I'm going to do that, you might as well say it's done, because the only thing that's going to stop me is death. I care about people, probably too much sometimes. So I truly do love people. And the final one. Don't get me really angry.
So that's determination, caring, and passion. That's a nice summary so far. Can you give it up for Sue and Grantley so far, please? And if we're doing our job, you're learning about stuff about him, his journey, and other things. But now's the time. We'll get as many questions as we can get. I might have to say, to get as many questions in, you're going to have a 2-minute cap on your answers. But let's see how many, just by show of hands, each person one. But first question over there, brother. Say it loud or come on to the mic. We'll come to you, actually. Go ahead.
No, come to the mic, because we want to get you in.
Ricky Dehaney from BBC.
I know everybody doesn't want to get up, so I'll come to you if necessary.
Well, you have to get up, because we want to hear what you've got to say. Yeah.
Ricky Dehaney from BBC WM.
Say who you are.
Ricky Dehaney from BBC WM. Just wanted to ask you a question about Maxi Priest. When I first saw Maxi Priest, I thought he was the British answer to Bob Marley, but he hasn't quite reached his full potential. Why do you think that is?
Maxi is an extremely talented individual. I mean, when I say extremely talented, I sat down in Smiley Culture's house and I listened to Maxi reel off half of his album, You're Safe. Just played, Smiley was playing a Studio One album, you know, instrumental, and Maxi just started to sing. He just started to sing. And when he'd finished, he said, "What do you think?" I said, you're going to be huge. I said, you're going to be huge. And if you think of where Maxi started as, you know, a roots kind of singer, singing Herb, Venda, Sensi, and those type of tracks which Paul Robinson was producing him for at the time. What happened then is Maxi realized he was stepping into the true Maxi Priest. Yeah? When I say the true Maxi Priest, I'm talking about the Maxi Priest that would run, right? That would run side to side and sing. I'm watching it.
Remind him, yes.
I've got no problem, right? So Maxi would croon, and he knew every single thing he was doing. I would slightly adjust what you're saying to this. Maxi Priest is probably the lovers rock king of the world. The British.
I'm going to get as many questions in as possible. You're going to just suffice it. We will get to as many people as possible. Just suffice it, soul man to soul man. It's arguable about what Maxi Priest's potential is or has been. The man has had number ones all over the world. He's charismatic as beep, and his diary full. International, but it's all opinions. I mean, I'm never going to jump on anybody. So whatever potential he's reached has been huge. How much further it could go, all opinion.
But it's a good point, because the sad fact is Bob Marley's passed away, and Maxi Priest is still alive. So he can always move along.
And the thing is, every artist is different. We've got artists in the room. You don't compare a Stevie Wonder necessary to a Elton John. Every artist have the thing about them, why them last. The ones who've lasted all that time, Bob's lasted it longer. Maxi has lasted. He's got a 40-year career. D Brown, after we're all gone, people will be playing D Brown. So whatever these guys, girls have, is something about them. So irrespective of dear or dear, once you're a great, that's a very exclusive club. You know what I mean? But stop talk and take questions. So please, hands, anybody? Next question? Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 1, 2. This brother, I'm the owner of Jew Quality Sound from 1974. And this brother was one of my crew members. And we went through a long journey. But I dealt with what I dealt with in my time of music and sound systems and whatever, reggae music, and going down to London and doing what we did. Do what we did, yeah? Remember, Grantley? You, Zephaniah, Rayman Lanniman, enough man used to come out of London. Every other weekend I was going to London from Birmingham, going to buy my tunes. I stopped going to Don Christie. I stopped going to all them music shops in Birmingham because I thought, Wally needs to be another step level. So I kept going to London to buy my tunes, which was back in the day was like, in the 90s, in the 2000s, was like going to Jamaica. But we did what we did. And back in them times, I knew I had a sound system that was going to be big and large and rare. And we did what we did, yeah? Okay, and that's what we did. And back in them times, Grantley, may I tell you, we did what we did, blood, and we played our music. And when it came to the time when I finished, and I thought, yeah, time's up, life goes on, we have to deal with what I deal with, and rare. People can say, whoa, we are finished for Wally. It's life. It's all about life. But this brother, when he rang me up and he said, Crooksy, I'm writing a book about sound system from back in the day. And I know that I learned from you because you was one of my idols that I looked up to, and you did what you did and rare. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight, because this brother, we go back a long time, yeah? And then when he went into the business of managing Pata Banton and all them artists and rare, I was not interested in sound systems. I was not interested in vinyls, CDs, or tape and cassette. But as time went on, and as life goes on, you go back in time. And then all of a sudden, vinyl started coming out again. And I thought to myself, you know what? That was my love. When I was a young boy, I used to go out, play my music in my yard 24/7, play out my sound system, play my music. And now I'm in 2025. I'm doing it again because it's my love and it's my passion. And nobody's going to take that away from me. Nobody. Nobody will take that from me. And this brother here, he brought it back to me. GT, I love it like cooked food. Trust me. True quality.
Yeah, let's get some questions. I don't want anybody to leave tonight and think, you know what, I wanted to ask, come to you when we're good. I wanted to ask a question, so feel free to ask. Is your forum now?
Okay, I'm Tomo. I've known GT since I was about 16 or 17 years old. When he talks about GT 600 and Mary Street, that's where it all starts from for me. What I do now is I work in the IT industry. And something that you said resonated with me, which was when you mentioned AI. I have a reasonable understanding of AI because of the industry that I'm in. What I also recognize is many people in this room have no idea what you're talking about. It's a challenge for us as black people, this AI revolution that GT just mentioned. And what we need to do and start to consider is how is it going to impact and influence us? Because guess what? It will. GT just gave you an example where he said, you can produce a music, get the lyrics, and there's no artist required. Guess what that means for the artist? You have to now work harder. Because the industry is almost saying that we don't need you. But of course, creativity, whether it's artificial, but you can't mimic natural creativity. In your estimation in the management position, what is required of us to get in this?
Gosh, that's a good question, isn't it? Right, first of all, you have to understand what artificial intelligence is. And you've got to not fear it. You know, like Bob Marley says, have no fear for atomic energy because none of them can stop the time. It's the same with AI. AI won't stop. What we've got to do is learn how to use it for what we want it for. Don't think you're alone. The NHS has got to become AI tolerant. Yeah? The police, the criminal justice system, we're not alone. Right? So what we've got to do is we have to remember that we have to learn how to use AI. You know, a lot of us didn't understand how to use Instagram, how to use Facebook. I remember when in 2014, and I said to Major, Major, yeah, man, we're going to do some tunes. And Major said to me, what do you want me to do, G? I said, the first thing I want you to do is get on Facebook, get a phone, a smartphone, Facebook, Instagram. And I'm proud of him today. Pop watch videos. because that is the future, just like AI.
Can I just take as many questions as possible? If you want to jump in, Major, in terms of interaction at any point, just say so and so. Let me take a question from the sister over there, and I'll... Paulette, and we're going to try and get to everybody. Go ahead, Paulette. I might have been interested from your perspective of working with him. Don't feel you have to if you don't want to, you know what I mean?
Greetings, everybody. I'm Empress P, and look at us. Wowee. All I can say this moment in time, this GT has drawn out so much, a lot out of me. And I've been fortunate that I've been able to be in his studio and recording, you know, I'm Empress P, the poet. I've recorded some of my poems to music, to GT's music. And the way that when I was getting nervous, he was able to talk to me, support me, guide me, you know what I mean? And it's like, and I've known him for years and years and years, and I know some of his stories as well, so I'm not going to talk about that now. But I just want to say here and now, wow, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you that I've got my album that says Empress P, I've landed with My Boys Beats.
Yeah.
And a number of your tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's there, it's there, it's there. So I want to say in front of everybody, thank you. And that's coming as well from from Tony Roots as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, because I'm showing you that, yeah, you can hear about the Maxi Priest, you can hear about Pato Banton, you can hear about everybody else. But I am a local Brummie, you know what I mean? And he's produced a poet. So he's showing how diverse he is, and also as well, me and Sue. So he's showing that he's not just doing music, he's trying other things, and you've stretched me. So thank you, GT. And I'm so glad that you're with us. You know, I was getting upset thinking, heart attack, wagwan. But you're here, you're here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I'll say is my greatest moment with Paulette, producing Paulette, was when we was in Ghana, and Paulette said, I got this track, but I want it to have elements of Africa in it. So one morning about 4 o'clock, I went outside and I recorded the sounds from Africa that was in the air, and wow, yeah?
Why not?
When we put that with some African drums that was happening, that when we went to the Accra, when I saw a group of drummers, I recorded them and I put them on it. That track does remind me of Africa, so thank you very much. And she was a great worker because she listened. The one thing Paulette would do was listen. So thank you, Paulette.
Let me just
Fabulous.
Jump on top of that's one artist you've worked with. There's another one in the room, Major Popular. I would actually jump on what Paulette just said as well and code that by saying that you no longer manage Potter, you no longer manage Tipper. But what's interesting is that in a business as competitive and often dramatic as this, both of them have got nothing but good stuff to say about you. Years after you and them stop work, they're both tributing you and saying that what them learned from you and the respect is still there. So without anything you're saying, what the artists are saying about you is actually a testament to their working experience. And somebody else with working experience is Major Popular, who he just mentioned about the online. Did you want to say anything up, Major? Or don't think you have to, but just jump on that, a little bit of your experience as described just then.
Good evening, everybody. First and foremost, let's just give GT a round of applause for his book. G, I'm proud of you. Very, very proud of G. Also, I want to say a big shout out goes out to Keith Brown. Let's hear it for Keith Brown. Because a lot of people don't know, Keith Brown and GT are tight, 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 tight. Even when you think you've got through GT, Keith Brown will catch you. So when you get through the loophole with GT, Keith will catch you. But GT, enough respect for your book, man. Like I says, the man's very knowledgeable, and he always gives you good advice. Sometimes you don't want to hear it, but you must take his advice. Trust me. One time he says to me, he says, Major, I think you should DJ for this band, you know. And I walk in, I said, GT, me not DJ for no band, you know. He goes, nah, man, you should DJ for the band. And I'm walking, and one thing GT says to me, he says, what have you got to lose? That's all he says to me. And when I thought about it, I says, I haven't got anything to lose. And then I DJ'd for the band, so he's got X amount of experience. Most things he knows about. And like he says, do not upset GT. That's the last thing you want to do. Do not upset GT, because he's a man, his determination is really, really strong. Really strong, man. And he showed me a lot of things. He's come to my house. He's the first man to bring me to A-Clash Fashion Studio. He's the first man to voice me in '89. The man picked me up from work one evening. We drove down to London. Me, Corporal Billy, the late great, Peter Spence was there, Nearest Joseph was there. And that evening, I couldn't voice a tune. I didn't have it in me to voice a tune. And that time was spending like £25 an hour studio time in 1989. So you can imagine what this man goes through for his artists and puts up everything, all financial, just to make sure we get an opportunity to express what we're doing from the sound system. So I want to thank you, GT, for everything that you've done and that you keep on doing, because me and him talk regular. So once again, congratulations on your book. Thank you very much.
This is nice because once again, it's unscripted and people get to say them things. So the sister there, you want, and then you, Joanne, yes. Yeah, so, no, Phil, you don't have to come. You say, and then Joanne, and then we'll try and get to everybody.
I just want to say, a lot of love, respect, and greatly admired. With your good works and wisdom, and striving towards what you've known and believe in, it takes a good soul who's expressive, inner beliefs and knowledge that gives kindly for all the world to hear, listen and read, achieving a remarkable goal. Thank you, GT, for all that you have given to this world. Love you, bro.
Can I just ask, thank you. Who are you, by the way? Your name, sis, just so we know. Georgia, just so we know. We'll take Joanne and then we'll come to yourself as well. So we'll go along the front row. And then Mr. Dixon.
Good evening. Evening, Grantley. It's been great talking to you about the book over the last couple of years, and it's amazing that, you know, it's got to this stage. Really, really inspirational. So I just wanted to know, I'm Joanne, by the way. I just wanted to know, what advice would you give to a young artist, let's say a female artist, who didn't want to produce reggae, that had any slackness? How would you encourage them to stick to a conscious route that they really want to produce, thinking about the world that we're in?
First of all, female artists, young. You got a lot of talented female artists about that need guidance. And some are fearful of the stuff, you know, with regarding abuse and so forth. So first of all, if somebody that's female and wants to do conscious lyrics, the first thing you have to do is applaud that. Because it's so very easy to write lyrics that are not conscious, right? What I would say to her is write poems to start off with, or just put your lyrics down in a way that you understand them, that she understands them, that she would happily sit against a crowd of people and express them, but express them from here. You know, it's great because you can't hide that. You can't hide when somebody's a great performer. Similar, you can't hide when somebody sings from the heart. Again, I'll draw on Ali Campbell. When he sings Jimmy Cliff's Many Rivers to Cross, you can hear it in his throat. He's belting it out. Or Sing Our Own Song. Right? You can feel it when you hear Drummy Zeb sing, I Need Your Love More Than Just an Hour. When you hear Maxi Priest sing, You Got the Best of Me. That's what sells you. That's what gets people coming to see you. And when Pat O'Banton, for instance, when he performs, My Name is Pat O'Banton, you feel the inside of him coming out. You create the market. You create the market because as long as it's coming from inside, somebody's going to want to hear it. So you create the market. This is where you need a team, because without a team, it's very difficult to do it. So you create the market, just like Lloyd Blake created the Hummingbird. He created a venue that would have just as many people on the outside as the inside. He created it. Just like I said, Pato, you're going to be a powerhouse in the United States of America. That's what we're going to do. And it takes a lack of fear. If you're worried about, I don't want to look this way or I don't want to look that way, well, you're not thinking about yourself. I remember the first day I sat in the boardroom of the National Treatment Agency as the only black man, and I thought, I've just got to be myself. That's the only, and I said, right, what I want is I want treatment for drug users that are black and African Caribbean, for them to feel that they can come to a service and get treatment. And if the NTA wasn't about that, I was going to leave.
Let me jump in a little bit. Let me try and get a few more. It's the Dixon, the brother at the back of acknowledge you. So your next question and pilot as well. We'll try and get to everybody if we can.
My name is Bernard Dixon. And my question is about the book. I was told to ask, when are you going to do an audio version of the book? I am not going there. Not yet.
All right. Well, you won't say it.
Right. A lot has happened. A lot has happened with the audio version. I think what's going to happen with the audio version, because Sue's already done the introduction and she's done chapter 1, okay? But Sue has come up against a couple of problems that she needs to deal with first. But I have got another idea, and what I'm going to do is choose people that have a voice that they can read chapters of the book, yeah, so that it will reach the audience that suits All right? And I will record those persons, and it doesn't have to be one particular ethnic group. I'm going to choose a number of ethnic groups and a number of age groups, because the book's about more than one ethnic group or one age group.
Okay. I haven't read the book, and my name is mentioned a couple of times.
Yes, as Aswad's manager.
And you continue saying to me every time we meet, I can remember the day I asked you for a record at, is it Rebecca's?
Yeah.
And
You
I
was
said
at
to you-
Rebecca's,
Yeah.
and Lionel was the DJ, and you walked up to Lionel and you put the record in Lionel's hand, and the record was 3 Babylon.
And then you said to me, you keep saying to me, if you can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that now is that I've done it.
Oh, okay.
And this is why you have to listen to people.
And you see the reciprocation
But
between...
Ali Campbell said this to me. He said, Grant, if they haven't done it, how can they teach you to do it? He said, so listen to the people who have done it. He said, that's why I listen and I watch the great reggae artists. They've done it.
I like the reciprocation between generations. But anyway, go ahead, pilot.
Thank you, John. Before I start, I'd just like to appreciate that the fact that it's so good to see Mr. Blake here. I haven't seen him for so long. So good to see Bernie Dixon here as well. Those are the brothers that we used to see, you know, some of the real foundation. I remember Bernie at the Hummingbird. Bernie would have the clicker, clicking the people in. You remember Bernie? Yeah.
Yeah, it is that.
Yeah, but my name's Pilot, by the way, and some people might know me in another
The great PCRL.
situation. Yeah, but Grantley has been an absolute giant in shaping the tapestry of the music industry in Birmingham, because a lot of the music industry was centered around London. And then Grantley decided, well, you know something? We've got talent up here. And he actually tapped into that talent and produced some really wonderful music. Oftentimes, we'd operate, he would even actually come to us and say, yeah, PCRL, offer his artists to play our gigs and what have you. And, you know, we all had a great time there. But one thing I'd like to ask Grantley, because my background, some people know this, is I'm from St. Kitts Nevis. That's where my parents come from. So, yeah. So, growing up, I went to school in Handsworth. And growing up to school, it was sometimes very tough for me, because as a guy who came from small island, as
What with the size of
I didn't have a chest the size of in those days. A guy who came from St. Kitts Nevis, you know, going to school, there'd be a lot of angst, and some of the Jamaican youths were quite edgy. But I managed to get myself accepted into that community, and I see myself as an honorary Jamaican now, and I probably know more about Jamaica than quite a few people who come from Jamaica. But you being a Barbadian, I mean, how did that affect you? Did you have any issues as a Barbadian coming into the Jamaican paradigm? Because obviously Jamaica is the creation of reggae music.
didn't give it a second thought. I didn't. Seriously, it didn't bother me in the least because I had the. Have you seen the size of this guy?
Yeah.
Plus, he was a policeman. So I was well looked after. I had a guy, a friend of mine called Timothy Lashley, that if you dare look at me the wrong way, he'd be in your face. And I always gave respect. You know, Crooksey's there, you can tell you I gave respect. Because whenever it was due, I gave the respect. So if it wasn't due, Major will tell you, I didn't give the respect. And I would tell you why. And that happened many occasions. I'd look at somebody and I'd say, well, they'd go, what do you mean? And I'd go, I don't agree, man. Because I think that's a load of rubbish. My best friend over there, Keith Brown.
Yeah, man.
He'll tell you,
big respect to Keith as well.
I didn't give it a second thought. If I had to tackle you, I was going to tackle you verbally.
Mm-hmm. But congratulations, GT, and we want you to stay well.
Yeah.
Because the story you told us earlier on, I was. It did.
But I think we need to share these stories, because when you are recovering from something like that, some certain people, even prostate cancer, a lot of people keep it under their hat and don't tell anybody. What's the use in that?
Well, I can say this, I don't want to sort of go into.
No,
I don't want to go.
I'm going to say no.
Mr. Blake has been a kind of an advocate and
I saw him going into Dudley Road Hospital once, and he looked at me and he said, "I'm doing all right, GT."
And he's actually made me look after myself,
But that's what we need.
Better as well.
We need women. Don't say with breast cancer, they don't keep it under their hat. They talk about it.
True.
So I've learned from my mother, because my mother had breast cancer. You understand? They don't keep it a secret. They talk about it. And some of my greatest experiences have come from women. So to disrespect women is not a thing I would do. I would rather say I'm not. I remember being at Trent Bridge when Brian Lara came to sign his book. And there was people talking about the New Labour Party. And I mentioned, the New Labour Party has got its challenges, but one of the challenges shouldn't be that they take away the winter fuel payment from.
Don't get me started.
Right? And obviously, it may not have been a popular argument, but guess what? It is a popular argument right now. So sometimes you've got to speak up. And if through speaking up and doing the right thing gets you put away or gets people to dislike you, then dislike me all the way to the bank. I'm happy for you to dislike me. And if I've done something wrong and I haven't made amends, then I'm going to make amends.
Yep.
Because it's not something that's in my nature to do, to disregard people or hurt people and not make up for it. And that's my sentiment. It doesn't have to be anybody else's, but it's mine.
Okay, GT, I know that we're on a time-limited basis, but...
And I want to sign some books
great.
for people. I've promised them that I will do it.
It's
so I want to do that.
But congratulations, GT, and all the best
but
for the
please
future.
Don't go,
okay.
Because before you leave here today, those who want to go on to the Jam House, because Aswad's playing tonight, I've got some free entries for you. Right? So... I'm going to give you a wristband, those who want to go, and you can walk into the Jam House, show your wristband, and you'll be able to get in for nothing.
I wanna say thank you, Pilot. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance. So this brother here, you as well, brother, after you, yeah? Last few questions, but try and make sure everyone gets a chance to speak.
Mr. Grantley. Yeah. First of all, I'm almost at the end of the book, and I have to thank you, Grantley, because what you have done is take me through my musical journey, the journey that I have made. Mr. Blake, how are you? As a young man growing up, you know, going to the clubs in Handsworth, going to the...
See you, Rob. I can see you.
Know who I am?
Thanks.
My name is Errol Drummond. Good, yeah? Thank you very much. Yeah,
Errol Drummond is the owner of Sunrise Bakery. You know that lovely hardo bread that you get? And the bun.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, I don't think sometimes we appreciate the power of reggae music. I remember when I left school, I became an apprentice. I won't even tell you what I did because you'd have probably never heard of it. But I worked for the Midlands Electricity Board back in the day. And I worked out of the King's Heath depot. And I was the only black person, black guy working out of that depot. And I remember my dad bought a small portable record player that take 1 7-inch. And I would take it on the building site and play reggae music. And all my mates would say, "What's all that jump up jungle music?" And I said to them, one day this is going to rule the world. And you know, thanks to people like Grantley and all the producers in here, they have demonstrated the power of reggae music. You know, I've got a question for you, but I'll come at the end. You know, back in the late 70s, early 80s, I lived in the Middle East, a little country called Kuwait. And I remember every Thursday night at the local hotel, the Palestinians would have a reggae night. Palestinians, a reggae night. And, you know, you'd find it in South Africa, in Soweto, reggae night. You know, I used to travel around the Middle East, come to the airport, flash my Jamaican passport, and I would get shook by the hand and says, Jamaica, reggae music. So, you know, Grantley, it's thanks to you that you have spread it around the world. You've taken your artists, or taking your artists all around the world. And the question I have for you is that you've taken them to Jamaica, to Sunsplash, the cradle of reggae music. So my question is, does Jamaica give the British reggae artists the respect that we deserve, or they deserve?
Well, I think they did because Synergy and Tony Johnson and a lot of the others, they embraced me. And when I went to Jamaica, in 1987, they had Tipperary, Pato Banton, Aswad, Steel Pulse, yeah, Maxi Priest. Is that a good start? Reggae Sunsplash, that's the biggest reggae concert at the time right across the world. So I've got to embrace reggae Sunsplash. I've got to embrace reggae because, to be honest, I've never had a bad experience in Jamaica. All my experiences were positive, even with Isaiah Leng, you know, Sting, the Police. You know, he drove me through Tivoli Garden and I thought I'd be petrified. Not when I was sitting next to Isaiah Lane.
Right, we're going to take the last 4 questions. The brother there, yourself, and down there. So in that order. So go ahead, brother. Oh, so we'll make. No, go ahead. All right, Mr. Blake as well.
Good evening, all. Hi, my name is Richard. I know Grantley in a professional capacity. When I first met
Bye,
Grantley,
girls.
Huh? When I first met Grantley, it was I am a NHS professional. I work in finance, or I did work in finance, and Grantley was an NHS professional at the same time. And so I don't know him as GT, I know him as Grantley. And I've got a non-music question for him, or almost a non-music question. I worked for the NHS for 35 years before I finally extricated myself from that. I had obligations, mortgages, children, holidays, all the rest of it. My question for Grantley is, how difficult or easy was it for you to extricate yourself from your professional life with the NHS?
What a good question. Very difficult, because I served 8 years on the National Treatment Agency. I served 14 years, 15 in the NHS as a manager, strategy manager and so on. And it was hard. The only thing, it was, I lost my family, you know, my wife. That's how hard it was. I also gained my sons and the appreciation of their mother. But I didn't lose everything, because I've kept all my friends, as you would see in the next book. You know, people, prison, governors, you know, Kate Davis, OBE, really, really, really good person. I've not lost a thing when I look back at it. I've gained, because I've still got you. I can walk round to your house and we can sit down, play music, and really enjoy, you know, even the music business. I've got people like Beverly Marsh, you know, I got Lloyd Blake, I've still, right, there's Crooks, there's Buff Bay there, there's Chris Kennedy Jr. over there, there's Countryman there, there's Emily, who, you know, I'm a friend of her parents, her father, who helped me build my studio. And he said, you know, I got a daughter who might need your help. And since that day, we've been friends, and she's here today with her mum and her brother. So all I can say, you know, people like Vas Simu and Amy, I've got too many good people around me to depart from the earth yet.
Right, we've got the last 4 people, and then Sue's going to wrap it up. So if you come along, then it'll be yourself. Then,
okay, see you, Eva. See you, sweetheart.
Hello, my name's Dubmaster Pops, they call me. I lived in Jamaica for over 20 years, as Grantley knows. Do you think it took a long time for you before to get into playing at Sunfest and all them places?
Of course it did. I would say this, 10 years, it takes 10 years for an artist to really break through before they really become the artists that they're going to be. And my 2 friends, you know, from SIAS, who are here today, would hear me talking about these things, and you know, I suppose they can be forgiven for thinking that it wasn't really, I really didn't think a lot about it, but I did. But it goes round in a circle, you see, because when you meet a client that's on substances, and you start talking real to them, and you tell them about what you've done and where you've been through, they naturally get. And I know that UB40 have been my friends for years.
Well, I'd like to say something.
And you.
Muta Baruka, right, Ducky Sims from Black Uhuru rang me one night and says, "Hi, Pops." He goes, "Someone's playing your tune on the radio." I said, "Oh, yeah, really? Yeah, but they want to know what colour you are." So Muta Baruka goes, "Hello, who is this?" I said, "It's Pops." He goes, what colour are you? Any colour you want me to be. Simple as that. And so it's quite hard being a white mixer.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I mean?
is.
Yeah.
If you embrace it as
If I
a
don't,
white mixer.
I lived there for 20 years, so.
So I would
Guru.
say, don't embrace the colour.
Exactly.
Take the colour out of it.
Be who you are.
And present the person who you are. Yeah. Yeah.
Last three questions. Lady there, and then Mr. Blake. Come on, sis.
Greetings. Blessed everybody. My name is Miss Anjay. My parents are from Suriname. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for this invitation. I met Mr. Grantley, Mr. GT, last weekend. I saw him as a DJ, actually, and he was already such an inspiration that evening. And I'm really humbled to be in a room full of what I think is very rich in stories, experience, knowledge. So thank you for that. You, sir, you said if anybody has a question. I was thinking, I thought I didn't have a question. But hearing all the inspirational stories and your experience, and really looking forward to read the book, I actually do have a question. I haven't been in England very long, and since that I came to England, one thing that I've learned is often when people say, yeah, we're going to talk, or we're going to do this or that, that is not necessarily the case. So I would like to ask you, I mean, I'll be very honored if you're open, to at least if we can have a serious sit down to speak about management. I am.
What I'll say is I'm always open to speak about anything, doing anything that's close to my heart. And you've heard tonight that reggae and music is close to my heart. And when you told me about I watched a couple of the posts that you had on Instagram, and you are a performer. You really are. So I will definitely say, yeah, we'll have a chat.
Okay.
Yeah, about
Thank
management.
you so much.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Last two questions.
Hi,
Annette B.
I had to come and say something, Grantley. Annette B. It's been a pleasure having you as my manager and opening up doors, recording and working with some phenomenal labels, including yourself. And I just want to say I've told you this before, you're so dynamic.
When you say dynamic, what do you mean? In what sense?
You know, I'm just having flashbacks of, going down the motorway to London for a gig. We're running late, the traffic is tough all the way, standstill. And there you are, driving down the hard shoulder at full speed to make sure that the artist gets there on time. And then next thing you know, we see blue flashing lights coming from behind, and then blue flashing lights coming from in front, reversing up to sandwich Grantley in. But that's how much determination and how much you look after us as artists. We had so much fun. We learned so much. You were respectful, and don't get on the wrong side of Grantley. I am telling you, it is something else. And I just want to say we became such good friends. You were the MC at my wedding.
Yeah, I remember that.
And, I just want to say, that was amazing. I know. You just keep rising and keep bringing people along, because you're not you're selfless, and you're thinking of others, and just keep allowing yourself. But one question I have, my last question, can we have this in a film, please?
Pardon?
A film.
A film.
A film. a movie with all the artists, not
Yes.
literally the artists, but everything that you've done. That would be amazing to go to Star City and seeing it on the big screen. Not a documentary, an actual film.
Right. Okay. Well, Annette, if you agree to assist me with it, yeah, I'll do it. Bless you. Because Annette has gone from leaps and bounds after managing Annette. Annette's gone on to do great things. And I'm really proud of you. I am. Love you too.
Right, before the last question and Sue wrapping it up, can I just say, please don't speed on the hard shoulder, all right?
I knew he'd have to say something about that, you know. It wouldn't be John.
It might be an inspiration, but don't follow him in that respect, all right? Final question, Master Blake.
I'm not too crippled yet not to be able to walk, but as you get on in old age and your ankles play tricks, my book, that one is mine specially. Specially bought, ready, prepared. I won't stay very long. I won't stay very long because of the time and everything. But Grantley, I read your book and read it again. I read the book 3 times, 500 pages. I challenged myself after writing my own book, as you know. And I hope you've got a copy for me to sign as you promised, because I brought yours for you to sign.
If there's the one time that I've let him down, it's today because I forgot. There was so many things on my mind. And I even went back to the house and I forgot it. But I will find you, Mr. Blake.
You forgive.
And get you to sign your
Anyway,
book.
When I read your book, me being who I am and know a little bit about the reggae industry, I challenged you. In reading the book, I decided to challenge you. I decided to challenge you like this. Where is Grantley coming from in writing this book? Is he writing about the mechanics, performance, licensing of your song, touring overseas, his love for Potter, Peter Spence, Tipper? Or is he writing about the whole circumference of reggae, the reggae industry in England? And I saw where you came from, and the moment you recognize that the reggae industry is a subgenre of the reggae in Jamaica, I went tick. Let me see further what he's saying. The development of the British reggae industry, the individuals, the players, the performers, the architects in the whole game, and where you're coming from to where you reach, and the challenges, the determination to do what you did. And when I read it, and I said to Bernie, I asked Bernie, have you read it? Bernie and I was reading together. Yes, we've done. I sat back and I said, what has this book done for me, Lloyd Blake? And I decided that it has educated me further than I knew. It has entertained me in parts, and it has informed me. And lastly, it challenged me. And I look for a challenge for you, and the challenge I look for you is this. Quite rightly, as you said, page 409 was the future of reggae. I looked up page 122, page 197, page 409, further down. And when you talk about the present and the future of reggae, of music, British Empire music, and you touched on technology, AI. I thought Grantley has done his research, he's done well, he's going places, he can't get any further than his where he's at with his knowledge. However, when I mentioned Buju Banton there about what Buju's doing, Buju challenged the streaming company 2 months ago to say to them how many streams, and he mentioned some of his music, I've had since he came out of incarceration, and how much money was coming to him. After about 2 million streams, few pence was coming to him. And Buju decided to do this, and Beres is doing the same thing. They said, okay, AI will come and create music in your bedroom without a living artist. But AI cannot perform on stage. So the artists need to keep performing. And what does that need? Promoters, business management managers like yourself. Yes, I saw what Annette B has been doing with GX every year. Promoters to put the live performer, the players of instruments on stage to perform to earn. AI cannot touch that. And I was looking to see if you would have pinpointed that in your book there. You mentioned touring and performing. And well done for having touch, after you touch AI. And I was looking, is Vante going to see the space for the live artists? And therefore, venues are important around the country for the live artists to perform and earn far better than waiting for a vinyl to be sold, a song to be sold to get royalty. In Birmingham here, with all the talent, Pop Major, with all the talent that we call local talent, the brilliant talent in Birmingham, some of us who are here now, the one man who's doing exactly what I'm talking about now in a medium way and earning a living is Steve. Steve here from Reggae Revolutionary. Steve from Legend Band, I don't think so.
Steve Morrison.
Steve Morrison. Yeah. He's taken the legend Bob Marley tribute band.
Yeah.
And look what he's done with it.
Superb.
25, 30 concert dates across England.
Yeah.
In places where 10 of the persons who were in the venue were black.
Yeah.
He's doing it. He's doing what Shaka did many years ago. When there was competition in London, sound system fighting each other about who's the better sound system, Shaka went into the universities.
Yeah.
And developed his own little space in there. So artists who are performing need Grantley. Grantley, you need to protect those up-and-coming artists to perform live, to keep earning a living, to look after themselves and their family. And that is where AI can't touch. Otherwise, to sit down and wait till your music is sold, the streamers is going to murder you. Yes? In America, Jay-Z and a few others have done a smart thing and created Tidal, their own streaming to protect them. Ordinary artists haven't got streamers to protect you. You need to keep promoting, keep performing live, and therefore look at venues and do business as you ask, a question I asked, and I found that you asked it in there. The future of the music, is it going to be a hobby or a business? I say, is it going to be a hustling or a business? Because you hustle to raise the money next week, next month, but you do business long term. I'll finish by saying, congratulations, my friend. Much congratulations from where you came from, the determination, the resilience, right through to where you have arrived. Don't stop there, but take it easy. Because I was watching you yesterday with Jenny P. And when you mentioned your heart,
Yeah.
a tear came to my eye. Be careful. take it easy. Don't overstraight yourself. Yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to give the last words to Sue. Wrap things up.
Thank you. Thank you, Lloyd. All right. You know, we don't have enough of these kind of events. There is so much great peoples, great talents, creativity, etc., etc., that makes up our community and who we are. We have a legacy that seems to get lost in the negative words within the media. And so Grantley, as I said earlier, you can see the kind of person and the character of an individual by those that surround them. And I think definitely tonight we can see that. One of the things that came to mind earlier, it reminded me of, remember the program, I'm sure you all do, This Is Your Life? A great program. We used to look and we used to watch, and 1 and 2 black people came on, everybody was like, yeah. You know, and I think we need more of that. And you are showing us that, again, with determination and a good heart, you know, these things are necessary as part of the legacy of where we're coming from, regardless whether it's the Windrush. We've been here thousands of years. Yeah, and we tend to just think about the Windrush. But you and your name is placed within the British reggae music industry, you know, and you have made your mark. Nothing can erase that. And so I'd like to say congratulations again. Continue to take care of yourself. And everyone, continue to take care of yourselves. You all have family, you all have relatives who were there in the beginning. We have our phones. Just record their messages. Record something. You know, a grandparent, an uncle, anyone. Just record something to give to their grandchildren, your family's personal legacy. And imagine if we join all of that together, we might remember who and how great we are as we sit here and look at you and think the same thing. You? Thank you too. Thank you too. Thank you. Do you want to have the last word?
Grantley, I forgot to thank you publicly for the mention you gave me in your book from page 368. when I read what you said about me, I asked myself, did I promise Grantley anything? No, I didn't. It was mutual respect. Thanks again, Grantley, and good luck.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you. You definitely.
No, go ahead.
So, Grantley's going to sign some more books for anybody who hasn't had the opportunity yet. This is what our community is about. It's like we come and celebrate ourselves, our culture, and it's inclusive, and it's about us. So please give yourselves, Grantley and Sue, a round of... Hold on. Sorry.
There's a raffle.
Oh, I didn't know, but...
Right, there was a raffle going on, and if people still want to take part in the raffle, you can now while I'm signing books. Yeah? Feel free. Keith is here. You can buy a ticket from Keith and you can take part in the raffle before we go. All right? The raffle... prizes are a book, a mug, and a T-shirt.